On today's show, the New York Knicks have won 9 games in a row, including their most recent double OT thriller in Boston behind a career night from Immanuel Quickley. How have the Knicks been able to keep this win streak alive, and how impactful has the trade deadline addition of Josh Hart been? All that and more coming up right here at Locked On NBA.
You are Locked On NBA, your daily NBA podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, and welcome to another edition of Locked On NBA, the biggest stories with the local experts. I'm your host, Jackson Gatlin, also host of Locked On Rockets right here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Now, today's episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. Next game, how about Luka Doncic to score more than 26.5 points? What about Giannis Antetokounmpo to have more than 7.5 rebounds? Or how about Kevin Durant to have less than 6.5 assists? Or maybe even Steph Curry to have more than 3.5 three-pointers made. So what is Prize Picks? It's daily fantasy sports, but how does it work? Basically, you pick 2 to 6 players, and if they score more or less than their Prize Picks projection, you can win up to 25 times back on your money on any entry that you submit. There's no competing against other people. It's just you versus the projections available. Prize Picks offers projections on any sport that you watch. That's NBA, NFL, MLB, NHL, PGA. They've got you covered for everything over at Prize Picks. Entries can be made in 60 seconds or less. It's that simple. They're safe. They offer fast withdrawals, and they're currently operational in over 30 states and Canada. Download the Prize Picks app or go to prizepicks.com to sign up and play daily fantasy sports. First-time users can receive a 100% instant deposit match up to $100 with promo code LOCKEDON. If you deposit $100, Prize Picks will give you $100. If you deposit $50, Prize Picks will give you $50. Don't forget to enter promo code LOCKEDON at sign up for an instant deposit match up to $100. Joining us now is the host of Locked On Knicks, Alex Wolfe. You can follow wherever you listen to your podcasts and on YouTube. Just search Locked On Knicks. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that great stuff. Alex, the Knicks have collected their 9th straight win, improving to 39-27 on the season. They're just 1 game back now of the Cleveland Cavaliers for that 4th spot in the Eastern Conference. It was a double overtime thriller in Boston, 131-129, the final score. And to be able to win this game with no Jalen Brunson in the lineup, with Immanuel Quickley, the way that he performed in this game, right? A career high 38 points. He played 55 minutes out of the available 58 minutes in this game with the double overtimes. I mean, how much of a luxury is it to have a guy like this, like Quickley, who can step into the starting lineup and produce at such a high level without Brunson out there?
Well, I mean, this is quite frankly why he's the NBA Sixth Man of the Year. Or at least he should be in a few weeks' time when he gets voted to be so. At least that's what we're trying to will into existence as Knicks fans. But, I mean, he's ironically his signature performance coming in a start. But the fact of the matter is that he provides similar things to what Brunson gives you, but with just amazingly elite defense. I mean, that's his calling card, the hustle plays. I mean, the things that stood out to me more than the 7 points in the double overtime or the threes or the runners or, whatever, like every other little thing that he did was the defense he played in this game. And so many pivotal plays that he made in the 3rd and 4th quarter. Like the Knicks were down, I think by as much as 12 in the 3rd quarter in this game. And things were starting to kind of slip a little bit. And Quickley was part of, before he did anything else in overtimes or anything else, or got up to 55 minutes, he helped stage a Knicks run where he impacted the game on the defensive end and got a huge block at one point, then follows that up with a huge steal, gets a transition bucket. I mean, these are the little things that he does, like that. Well, they do show up on the score sheet, but I mean, they're the little things, it's like he plays the passing lanes like a madman. He clearly has unlimited energy. Today was the proof. I long had theorized that his energy was actually unlimited. Now we can say 55 minutes NBD. A game and plus 7 minutes of play time, it doesn't matter for Quickley apparently. So it was just such a fun game, such an awesome national showcase for him to show off a guy that we really love in our fandom so much, and just a seamless fit to pop in there in place of Brunson for a guy that clearly has learned a lot from Brunson, but also has just refined his own skills to such a degree that he's now just a maestro breaking guys down. He's great at setting up teammates. and obviously is fantastic on the defensive end as well.
What does this win mean, Alex? Obviously, getting your 9th win in a double overtime thriller is pretty exciting stuff by itself. But just what does this win mean against a very good Boston Celtics team when you're looking further down the pipeline as to kind of the expectations and some of the goals for the postseason this year for the Knicks?
Well, I mean, this is the second time that the Knicks have managed to beat the Celtics in the span of about a week. The first one was a little more of a laugher than this one, but still a statement nonetheless, to do this sort of thing in that quick a succession against a team that is second in the East right now, that is maybe, I guess by their standards, like, I don't want to say skidding, but, they did recently lose the number 1 overall spot, to the Bucks, and like things are a little up in the air for them, I guess. But really, I don't think it's so much an indictment of the Celtics as much as it is just like shows how well the Knicks are playing right now. They just seem to have no back down in them. I don't know. Like, there's been plenty of games where they just absolutely smoke opponents lately and blow them out by like 20, 25 points and, just kind of casually cruise. That was sort of the story of the last Celtics game, where I think the final score only ended up being a margin of about 12, but it felt like much more than that. I mean, the Celtics were never really in that game. And then there's other ones like this where they've kind of taken a shot on the jaw at some point in the game. And, these were the moments where the Knicks used to fold, and they just don't have that in them anymore. And they seem to have this new gear that they can find, which is the sort of thing you see from really great teams, where you just kind of have this faith of like, no, they'll figure it out because they're just that good. And the Knicks right now are that good. They never give up on defense. They are actively learning during the course of a game, which has been something that has been a little tough for Tibbs coach teams historically, is adjusting on the fly to things that the other team is doing. But we saw in this game, like, normally Tibbs has Mitchell Robinson stay in the paint a ton, and they were doing that early, and Al Horford went kind of crazy, and it still wasn't perfect by the end, but we did see by the end Mitchell Robinson staying more on the perimeter. Just little things like this, like, are making this team play a lot better right now. And I think really influencing how well they're playing at the moment, their adaptability, the fact that they never give up. I mean, it seems so cliche, these are all things, they got a lot of dog in them, but like, it's the truth. They don't say die ever right now. And this was just another example.
You mentioned kind of defense there with Quickley for a moment, and just talking about how some of these defensive adjustments over the course of this game is what kind of got them the win. A guy that I was so impressed with and have been, for a minute now, Josh Hart, who might be one of the most under the radar acquisitions from the NBA trade deadline. Just how impactful has he been for Thibodeau and for this Knicks team?
Oh, he's been well worth the cost so far. That's for sure. I mean, the Knicks gave up their own first round pick this year, lottery protected, which is becoming increasingly less and less valuable with each passing day, which is great. Thanks to Josh Hart and the fact that he is not lost in a Knicks uniform. And Cam Reddish, who, which it doesn't seem like a huge cost to pay right now for a guy that has just been this like much needed shot in the arm. Like, it's not that the Knicks were playing poorly before he got to the team, but they did sort of seem like they lowered down to this 9-man rotation, and they were playing Deuce McBride sort of in the minutes, or in some of the minutes that Hart has absorbed now. But Hart has also sort of taken some minutes from Grimes and from RJ Barrett now, which I think was a good thing, because those guys kind of, I think, needed a little bit shorter of a leash and better staggered minutes, I think, sometimes. And so now you have Hart in there, who's just like the perfect seamless fit with this team. His rebounding, I think, for as great as his defense is, I think his rebounding is the best skill that he brings to the table.
He's one of the best rebounding guards in the league. It's crazy watching him like leap into the land of the trees, and like you actually feel pretty good about Josh Hart's chances to come away with a rebound in that environment.
Yeah, and per cleaning the glass, I think he's classified as a wing this year, but he's like the standard bearer for wings as a rebounder, which is insane, because like a lot of wings are a lot bigger than him, and he still holds that distinction. Yeah, he's fantastic. I love his energy. The fact that he is always putting himself between two players and trying to get a loose ball at like pretty much any time there is one is so valuable, and it generates so many opportunities for the Knicks. Like in this game, there was one that actually went uncalled, but like he forced a situation where if the Knicks had opted to review it, Marcus Smart was the last guy to touch a ball that Josh Hart was furiously diving on the ground for and creating a situation like that. And it seems like he creates 2 or 3 of those per game now at this point that come at huge moments and are huge swing plays for the Knicks. And on top of it, like he managed to score somewhat decently in this game, like had 10 points, but if he's not scoring the ball, there was a game the other day where he had like 6 points and still had an enormous impact on the game. That's the best thing that you can ask for out of a guy like that. That's a role player, that they don't need the ball, but they'll still come up for you when you need it. And they'll just kind of be low maintenance and do all the dirty work. And that's exactly what Josh Hart does. And he's been so good at it so far.
Well, the guy who's the engine, who does so much of the heavy lifting for this Knicks team, Julius Randle, has been fantastic over the 9-game streak. He's averaging over 30 a night, shooting over 40% from 3. He's had a couple 40 burgers. He had the game winner in Miami. I mean, what are you seeing that the Knicks are doing, or that Randle specifically is doing, that's allowing him to be this effective over this stretch?
He's kind of just making shots. Like, I don't know. I mean, he's playing like a supernova version of what he's been doing pretty much all year, which is he's refined his game down to, like, he's distilled it almost to like the James Harden shot profile of he pretty much is only shooting at the rim and from 3. And he very seldom goes to the mid-range shot. That was his bread and butter 2 years ago when he made all NBA. He's completely changed himself as a player. It's like he like went into a cocoon and came out this year and was like, a totally different like butterfly of a player here, because he's spacing the floor so much better. He's keeping guys honest on the perimeter. He's got these step back threes just absolutely nailed. I mean, just made another ridiculous step back, falling out of bounds from the corner 3 to put the Knicks up going into the 4th quarter in this game, in basically the same exact spot that he hit it against the Heat the other day. But really most of what it comes down to is shot making. I mean, he's just insanely hot right now, and that'll do it. If you have the great shot profile and you've been shooting pretty well, and then all of a sudden you start shooting really well, things are going to look pretty good for you. And that's pretty much the space that he's in right now.
How much longer can the New York Knicks keep this win streak up for? Where will they ultimately land in the Eastern Conference standing? Of course, you'll have us covered for all of that and more over at Locked On Knicks. Alex, I appreciate you stopping by Locked On NBA with me.
Of course. Always a pleasure. And let's go Knicks, baby.